You know, we look at the beauty and say, oh, this is such a wonderful place. But we also expect to have electricity when we turn the switch on. And I think it's easy for us to overlook the cost to the environment, the cost to the local residents who live close to the plant, what they are paying for our convenience and our ability to flip a switch. And I think it's time to recognize that, you know, it might mean higher rates, it might mean some changes in our lifestyle, but we need to be aware of all the costs of generating power and be willing to pay for that and not to put the burden on our neighbors who live near the plant and not to put the burden on the environment. My name is Ellen Faby. I'm a resident of Marlow in Anderson County, and I'm a member of quite a number of groups. I attend church in Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm an active member there. I'm vice chair of the Anderson County Democratic Party. I do a lot of volunteer work with them, and I've lived in this area for over 30 years. I raised my daughter here, and I love living here. It looks like a thriving community. I think, you know, the poverty level will be lower. There will be more economic opportunity for people. They won't have to move away to find good jobs. They will have better access to broadband and technology in general. And we will be a prosperous community, but it's going to take a lot for that to happen. The rural parts of Anderson County and of rural Tennessee in general, some of those people are struggling. People have depended on coal in the past for their livelihoods, and if we're going to transition away from coal, we need to support those workers who are losing their jobs. And I think that's very important to have a policy in place and have programs in place that will help workers transition to other employment. That support is missing, and job opportunities are missing from some of the more rural areas. We need more economic development in Anderson County. We need more job opportunities, and I think our county commission and state and federal policies can support more economic development. Broadband access is definitely a big issue. A friend of mine lives in a log cabin. She has no cell service, she has no broadband, and she really needs that. And there's a lot of people in the county that need that, and that would really help educate their children and provide more economic opportunities for them. One of the things I do is I go to protests because I think, you know, part of making change and doing what's right is showing up. Maybe I'm just another body at a protest, but I think that's important. I do work with various groups and supporting causes that I believe in. For example, showing up at a county commission meeting if there's an issue that I think is important, like the Bull Run plant closure. I think in order to change what's happening in our country, in our state, in our local area, we need to elect different people, because as long as we keep electing the same people, we're going to likely get the same results. So that's where my focus is. The Oak Ridge Unitarian Church has a long history from its inception of being progressive and being involved in the community, including in reproductive rights for women in the 60s and in desegregation of the Oak Ridge schools and helping educate Black students before desegregation happened. And my church was instrumental in that, and we're continuing that today. We helped One of our members opened a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week daycare center for families where the parents have to work the night shift or have odd hours for working, so their children can be taken care of while they're working. We are active in LGBTQ rights. We are active in feeding families, feeding children that are under the poverty level and need food assistance. We have a community meal. The list just goes on and on and on. So there's many things we do in the community. I love my church community because we support each other. That is my second family. And I know if I have any health issues or job issues or anything, that they will be there to help me as I will be there to help them. It is very diverse. I mean, you get different political views, different churches, different ethnic communities. Historically, also, one of the first schools to desegregate in the South was in Clinton, the Clinton 12 in 1956. So we have a long history, and we're not always on the same page. We don't all think the same way or act the same way, but it's a community that has a lot going for it and a lot of wonderful people. I grew up in Chicago in a very urban environment, and I first came to Tennessee when I was 16 for a summer program at one of the colleges. And I was just so overwhelmed with how green it is and how beautiful it is. And I married somebody from Oak Ridge, and when we had the opportunity to come back, I was very happy to come back to this area and to be able to raise my family here. I feel very fortunate to be able to live in East Tennessee and the beauty of Melton Lake and just the natural environment. It's a privilege that I don't take for granted. Climate change is an existential issue. I mean, it really is the difference between human beings and plant and animal life on our planet, being able to continue to live. I was talking to a couple of farmers recently at the farmers market, and one of them commented that they had had 2 frosts late in the season, and that had damaged a large part of their peach crop, and there were fruit trees. And I think while, a particular frost certainly can happen late in the year, climate change makes those kinds of events more likely to happen. And I look at the news, I see climate issues all over the United States, all over the world, and more extreme events and more people, especially people in less developed countries who are heavily impacted by weather events and changes in climate. And that's only going to get worse and worse. And we need to take action now. And the United States needs to be the leader in taking action. We can't wait and say, oh, China's not doing it or India's not doing it. We need to be the leaders and generate leverage for other countries to follow us.